I can't really fault him for falling asleep in whatever that meeting was, though. I mean, that looks like it was probably boring as hell. I think I probably would have fallen asleep there too.
I'm sure it's hella boring.
The funny thing is, like, him like going up the stairs to Air Force One and falling down, he looks surprisingly spry in that video compared to how he looks now. Like, and I mean, that was just what, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Nah, man, 4 more years.
Need to. I guess I need to make a new intro clip of Biden stuff with. So I got the thing saved somewhere of like multiple Biden gaffes, just him saying dumb shit over and over again. I guess what I really need to do is make a Biden intro video of him just like shitting his pants in public.
Good super cut. Gotta have a montage.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
Oh my God. No, there's not like a chair back there he's like working on sitting down in or anything. That's not like a... Because like, even if he was just like, if that's the kind of warm-up he needs to sit in a chair, that's old. You know, when you can't even sit in a chair without a good stretch.
Man, the prunes must have hit hard in that one, because it looks like he like was having some trouble with that one. Like, at least with the last one that we had, which was really just like 2 weeks ago, he kind of like walked off into the grass and just stopped. It's like, oh, everybody who's ever had a toddler knows that move. Like, that's the one. You just shit his pants.
Old Rod Stewart, poop my pants.
Oh man, and like the funniest thing about it is every time. So the last time he did it, Jill Biden, his wife, Jill, just like walks off. She's just like, nope, I'm out. I'm not changing this one. And just like she's like, I changed all of our kids' diapers. I'm not doing his too. And she just
my shift starts from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. and I'm not doing a goddamn diaper out of those hours.
So she just like noped out on that one. And then this one yesterday, or I guess this was yesterday. There's another video of her like escorting him away. Like they just left. Like didn't do like goodbyes or anything. Just like exit stage right. Just took off. Like she's like it's her walking him out. And they left. So this was in France to celebrate D-Day. And not celebrate and see, now I did the celebrate the Holocaust thing.
Yeah. I heard somebody else say that, I think on the news or something. Celebrate, and they sort of like caught up whatever, let's move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, remembering D-Day. Yeah, considering which side I fall on, I'm definitely not celebrating D-Day. Anyway, so like they were doing this with Emmanuel Macron, the French president, and they just like bounce, just take off. And so it's half him like trying to figure out if he needs to like chase them down and see what's going on. But also he still has like all of these vets that he's trying to like shake their hands and give them shit. So he like goes and then he has to turn around and like run back to the stage and he's like shaking hands and stuff and like trying to figure out what. It was hilarious. It, like, dude, if any other president at any point ever had done this kind of shit, the news would just be all over it. But they completely ignore it. Like they do not want to acknowledge that this dude is falling apart in front of our eyes.
He was like making jokes with all of them too, which was like, something like kind of funny for like old man shit, but definitely not inappropriate isn't the right word, but not, like you said, not what a statesman should be doing. I didn't see it, but Wayne was telling me about one of them. This like old black guy came up, this old black veteran with crazy hair, and he's like, "Oh man, I like your hair. Can I get some of it?" or something like that. Like, oh my god. I saw a couple of clips. I don't even remember what he was saying to other dudes. Just two. And it's funny because these World War II vets are, like, I mean, there can't be none of them under 100 left, right? I mean, they're all at least 100 years old, and it's like some of them look way better than Biden. Like way better than Biden. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. Number one, how few of them are left, and yeah, how good a shape a lot of them still are in.
I guess once you make it like through, like, you know, once you hit like 90 and you're still like halfway with it, it's like they're just one of those people who are just going to be like, you know, like they're not losing their shit. Like they'll die, but it'll probably be a little more sudden, I think. You know, it's not. I think once you hit 90, you're sort of past the slow decline point. You know, whatever genetic thing or whatever it is that allows people to live that long and still be halfway worth the shit. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people who are 90 who, whew, buddy, you should have gone 20 years ago. You know, there's people who are like my grandma started learning to paint, and like she's like ended up being really great at it. But she's like 85 when she started learning to like do art. Like, it's crazy, dude. No way that's gonna be me.
My grandmother is 92, and she's still sharp as a whip. Like, every time I go home, I'll go sit with her and spend an afternoon with her and just talk. And she can like get out the county history book and go through like every single page and every person in it and like tell you who all of them were and who their families were and who their kids were and who their kids ended up becoming after the book was put out. And like she can go through the whole fucking thing. And
big X's on the faces of the ones who have died. Yeah.
You know, I would be willing to bet she's got a book somewhere of all the people that in those books. She will go through and be like, yep, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead. Like
dead, whore, dead.
I think my grandma was about the last one left because Mr. Fowler was 101 and he died 2 years ago, year and a half ago, somewhere in that. So yeah, I think my grandmother is about the last one of that generation left there around home. Which is
I had a great.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
had a great grandfather who lived to be like 103 or something, maybe even a little bit older. And he's related to my grandmother, who's also 95 or something now. But anyhow, he was like blind. He got hit by a train once, like all sorts of crazy shit. And he ended up living to be over 100. My dad would tell me he'd have to go over there once a year and change his light bulbs for some reason. And he'd like wouldn't let my dad leave until he had a whiskey with him. You know, he's like, hell no, drinking a whiskey with me. I remember I actually drove by chance his house. It still exists. It's kind of log cabiny looking over in Istachata. Drove by it a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh my god, it's Pop. We called him Pop. I'm like, oh, it's Pop's house.
My great granddad, my grandmother's dad, he lived to be 90. I think he lived to be 94, and his sister Aunt Virginia was 96 when she passed. And like granddad he was still all there and doing pretty good when he passed. Like he just died because he was old. There wasn't anything wrong with him. I would go up to the nursing home a couple times a week and just like sit and talk to him, just give him company. He always kept it. They did not like it, but he always kept a bottle of wild turkey in his room at the nursing home, and like that was how he started his day every morning, was a shot of wild turkey.
Hell yeah. There's something we have the chicken industry. It's like JKCO. Anyhow, it's like whatever I'm not good with anagrams. Just plain crapped out syndrome, where sometimes you just go out and the chicken's just dead, and it's like, what happened? It's like, I don't know, it just fucking died. I don't know. It wasn't sick. It was just sometimes they just nothing really wrong with them. They just it's just done.
Right.
The battery ran out. Whatever.
119,550 living World War II vets as of 2023.
119,000? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. Wait, when you say 2011?
2023.
Oh, 2020. Jesus. Now, what are they counting as veterans? Like my grandmother was a Rosie the Riveter, but they give them like veteran status a lot of times. So I don't know if like that counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it's hard to
That makes sense.
and anymore it's hard to find a good delineation of like actually fought in World War II versus like were in the army but didn't actually go and stuff like that, or like
right. It's like
the
it's like
women
10-to-1, like support staff.
Yeah.
So if like every one person on the battlefield, there's like 10 people in the military not on the battlefield or something, some ratio like that. And it might have been a little different in World War II when they were conscripting people and, this and that, it might have been a higher ratio or something, but I really don't know. There's a clip, American Dad, where Klaus, the fish, he's German, and Roger go visit Europe. And they're on Normandy, on the beaches. And like, oh man, just think about all the bravery that was here, and all the brave men, or boys really, who came and fought and gave their lives, this and that. And Klaus is like, I know all those brave boys just trying to fend off an American invasion. He's like, oh well, they were brave too, maybe not quite as brave, but they were brave.
There was a meme. There was a meme. It was like Americans and British arguing over who fought the most battles on D-Day, and then it was like the Germans who were literally on every beach.
Yeah, we were on every front. No, you're not allowed to look at war through both sides, through the eyes of both sides. That's not the game doesn't work as well when you do that.
Well, especially as the crazy degeneracy and stuff is really sweeping through not just the U.S. but the world, and people are starting to ask questions like what books did the Germans burn and stuff like that. And then when they start getting answers, you're not supposed to be looking at that stuff from both sides. I saw a really interesting thing, and I should have clicked the link, because there was like a link to like sources and documentation and stuff that talked about how, and of course, this has always been like a conspiracy theory type thing that you joke about, but how Hitler didn't actually kill himself. He escaped to Argentina and was alive until like 1974 or something, and I bounced around Argentina for like 20 years or something, and then ended up like returning to Europe. And it was a interesting thread to look at, to say the least.
Yep.
And apparently a lot of Germans escaped to Argentina,
and then to Antarctica
following the war.
Yep. Moved down to Antarctica.
Fun. Yeah.
Well,
fun.
Are you familiar with it? And it's pretty well known that it was like somebody turned it into like science fiction, and it's basically fake, but a lot of people think it's real. The Admiral Byrd's journal from when he went to Antarctica. I don't know if you're familiar with the story, but he says like, oh yeah, he was out flying around and time stopped, and some other ships came and took control of his plane, and they were the Aryans, but it was spelled differently, but they were all tall, blonde, white people and this and that, and they had like they're like super what would you call it, a civilization or something down there, and they showed them around and took them to the center or the hollow earth and this and that. But yeah, it was like they were like the Aryans, and it was a lot of kind of, they didn't say they were like escaped Nazis, but like kind of, it would have been funnier if they did, because they're really lined up. But then it came out that somebody like just like wrote that and put it was Admiral Byrd's diary and sold it as like a science fiction book. And because conspiracy theorists, as much as I am one, they are also some of the dumbest people in the world. So it gets passed off as true.
Speaking of the Aryans and the dream that they had, this was a fun clip.
My main thing is I think that white people need to find their balls.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a problem right now, and it's not like anti any other race. Right. It's like our people. Like it's the same thing. Like Cat Williams talking about black guys wearing dresses.
Mm-hmm.
Like white people have a problem, and that's what I'm trying to steer people. Like you got to lift, you got to not smoke weed, You can't be, and it's advice that anybody can take. But
the world was better when the white people were the superior race.
I like that podcast format with the chairs, cool poses.
Yeah, Tho Bishop did a few episodes of a show with shit. Now I can't remember what his co-host name was, but it was the Redneck Riviera, and they basically did it like on Tho's back porch, and so you had all the ambient outdoor noises of like the birds and stuff like there. It was. I liked that. I like some people get real particular about like if they got background noise and they're like, can you hear this? Can you hear like I turn the fan off because it's fucking loud, not because it like I'm worried about production quality. But like some people get like really worried about if there's like any kind of noise in the background and stuff. And especially with that where he's like sitting outside, I really kind of enjoy that. Like it gives it a real feel. And yeah, like
I don't mind those either. Yeah, I've got a friend, a podcast he used to listen to years back, and he'd do a lot of them sitting outside. He had, a little farmstead, like us, and so it's goats and chickens and, birds and dragonflies and all that nonsense. But yeah, it made it feel kind of real, and it's not like there were obtrusive sounds. It's one thing if like you're next to like an alley where there's constantly like garbage trucks backing up or something. You know what I mean? Like that's a different story.
I did an episode of my show one time where it was we had the windows open because it wasn't hot enough to start running the air yet. So we had the windows open, and every time I would try to start recording, either the chickens would go nuts or the goats would go nuts or something would happen. And I was finally just like, fuck it. You're getting all the background noise today. Like I'm not trying to like cordon all this stuff off. You're going to hear goats, you're going to hear chickens. You might hear a lawnmower somewhere in the neighborhood. Like I'm just gonna roll through it, and it wasn't too bad. It was when I went back and listened to it, it was not as distracting as I had originally thought that it would be.
It just makes it real, man. I mean, because like podcasts are supposed to be, like guerrilla media. So sure, we can try to be fancy and have a nice studio and, put some egg cartons on the walls and shit. Or, we could really be doing this shit and make it real, dude. Like we're having a conversation in your living room, There's lawnmowers out there. It's the real world.
Oh, speaking of, you were talking about the Captain Bird and,
Captain Bird. It's like a knockoff Sesame Street character. Oh, hello, Captain Bird.
Getting abducted. I wonder if this was the guy that actually abducted him. Texas man admits to kidnapping 79 people to anally probe them while disguised as an alien. So it turns out that the alien abductions haven't been real all along. It was actually just this dude capturing people and probing them in his garage.
Dude, he really grew into the disguise. Like, I assume he did this when he was a much younger man. I mean, because this was going on in the 70s. That's when the whole abduction and anal probing thing was a big deal. So that's probably when he was active. But he don't even need a disguise now, dude. If that thing abducted me and anally probed me, if that was an alien, maybe demon, fuck.
All right, looks like he got ripped straight out of Star Wars or something.
Yeah, man. Voldemort-looking motherfucker.
Speaking of Star Wars, there's a new Star Wars series that's come out, and apparently it's called The Acolyte, and apparently this is the gayest Star Wars property ever. And
I hope that's like the tagline. That's how they advertise it. Come see the new whatever. It's the gayest Star Wars ever.
more or less. They
released it in June. Man, it's
the director and like the lead actress. Like that's been their whole thing. Is like they've talked about how they made this to make white people uncomfortable and to make men uncomfortable. It's like you do understand that like white men are the bulk of your audience, right? Like if you're trying to piss them off, then you're just like deliberately saying, yeah, we want this thing to crash and burn hard. In
fairness though, oh god, I'm probably gonna offend you. Most of the men who are really into Star Wars are pussies anyhow. So, I mean, Okay, let me pull that back. People who put Star Wars stickers on their car are the biggest pussies in the world. Because I drive a Kia Soul, so I'm shooting at myself here. But like when you see a Kia Soul with a Star Wars sticker on it, you're like, all right, it's either a fat white chick with a Skeleton Jack tattoo somewhere on her body, or it's some nerdy ass fucking dude who has a really shitty beard and is really into Star Wars.
I have a very nice beard. Thank you very much.
Yeah. No, yours comes in thick. It's the real sparse beard,
Or just like a straight up neck beard. Like doesn't even have anything on the cheeks. It's just all like from the jawline down. I saw a guy with one of those, and I was like, I shave, like, I don't really shave, but I shave my neck 2 or 3 times a week because I don't like it when I start getting a little bit of hair. Like, it makes it prickly, and I don't like it. And then I see somebody that it's just like that's the entirety of his beard is all from the jawline down. It's like, oh, dude, like, ugh, that just makes me feel icky.
That's one thing, even when I'm being lazy and not taking care of my face very well, like I'll still try and at least, hit right up there, under the the flap there, that part. You can't have hair below that.
And say how
but then
far,
you got to keep going down, and
And say how far up do you trim on your neck? Because like I go like straight up jawline down. I don't want anything below my face.
I try and do, if you're looking at me straight on, again, it's that visible line. Because I feel like if I go too far up, then that's something I have to maintain. You know what I mean? If that line's if it's too clean, then you really have to fucking maintain it. And I'm not about that. So
I have a fairly strong jawline, so it's not hard to maintain it. I think.
Well, I hate to do this, but I should probably get in and go to work.
Oh man. Come on, don't do that. Work's retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.